Good evening, friends, and welcome to the Lben Tea House. I'm your host, Lben. For those who have read Zhao Lin's Thatched Cottage Notes, you might remember this story from the book. It tells of a man named Zhao Yuanting who had a son late in life. However, the child was frail from birth. Consulting a fortune teller, he was told not to bother raising the child, claiming the boy was a creditor from Zhou's past life, there to collect a debt. The fortune teller said the child would leave when Zhou's debt from his previous life was paid off, indicating the child wouldn't grow up. Zhou didn't believe it and kept the child alive until he was 5 or 6. One time, the boy fell ill again. Despite summoning a doctor and preparing medicine, as the medicine was being cooked, the child spoke in his sleep. This is the last 80 tales, followed by passing away. The family was devastated as they dealt with the aftermath. When the doctor came to settle his fee, Zhou was presented with a bill, precisely 80 tales. Such stories are still shared among the people with the adage, spouses are destiny, entwined by good or bad karma. Without fate they do not meet, children are debts, some come to claim, some come to pay, without debt they do not come. Tonight, I will share with you a story about a debt-collecting spirit. The tale unfolds in Yingpan village, Liaoning province, where a family surnamed Zhao lived. The couple had been married for several years without children until finally, the wife became pregnant. Back in the 70s, childbirth typically took place at home with the help of a midwife. A midwife, an age-old profession among several types of female jobs depicted by the phrase 3 nuns and 6 wives, was crucial, especially since medical conditions back then made childbirth akin to a walk through the gates of hell. The midwife had to be skilled to handle breech births, umbilical cord complications, dilation issues, or when the birth canal would not close. Even in ancient times, and let's not even speak of those, but in my birth year of 1987. Births were still commonly assisted at home, highlighting the importance of a capable midwife. Nowadays, of course, this profession has vanished with hospital births being the norm, a societal improvement indeed. But at that time, Zhao Dai, seeing his wife was nearing labor, rushed out well in advance, noting down reliable midwives. Some might ask why not arrange an appointment ahead of time? Well, that was impossible, as back then, not every household had a phone, and the precise timing of birth was unpredictable. Usually, a family member would rush out to fetch the midwife once labor kicked in. And you've got to ask around at multiple places. Why? Well, just in case the first person you visit isn't home, or maybe they've been called away to another birth, so it's best to have several options. Coincidentally, that evening was calm and still days before the due date. Zhao Dai felt pleased, pouring himself a drink and enjoying it at the Kang table. As he and his wife chatted away, she suddenly exclaimed that she felt uneasy. Seeing her in discomfort, Zhao Dai realized it was time. He quickly called the neighborhood women for help and then took the prepared list of midwives, put on his coat, and set out to find someone to assist with the birth. By the time he headed out, it was after 9 at night. Using the moonlight, he first aimed for Old Lady Li at the east end of the village. Old Lady Li was renowned as a gynecological genius, even the village chief was delivered by her, which was said to promise a future official. Riding his bicycle over, he banged on her door, but unfortunately, Old Lady Li was out visiting her daughter and wasn't home. Good thing he had backup plans. Next was Old Lady Zhao from the southern village, known for only delivering boys in her 40 years of practice. Zhao Dai rushed there, knocked vigorously, but alas, Old Lady Zhao wasn't available either. She had been engaged since the afternoon with a birth that hadn't yet concluded. With the first 4 addresses leading nowhere, Zhao Dai was anxious, with just one last hope left, and quite a distance from his home. And previously, that old lady wasn't exactly praised for being a midwife, rather, she was known as a wet nurse. A witch, one said to be possessed by spirits. Perhaps, just before leaving, the spirits decided to endow her with the skill of delivering babies, declaring she would no longer divine but assist births instead. But honestly, who would dare use such a service? However, faced with no other choice and uncertain of the situation at home, Zhao Dai had to rush back. He hopped on his bike, heading toward the last midwife on the list, Old Lady Kui. But things got strange. Zhao Dai hadn't drunk much, and his tolerance should have prevented any disorientation, yet tonight's journey felt different. The dense mist, the roads shimmering with a ghostly green light, though the moon was bright above, the path below was pitch black. As he rode along, suddenly he realized, where was he? Streets were bright and bustling with life, markets on either side were lively with trade. Zhao Dai wondered what sort of place he had stumbled upon. Stories told of Hong Kong and Macau's bright lights never ceasing, but he never knew of such a place nearby. The more he looked, the more it seemed like everyday goods being sold, and the restaurants and taverns were unusually busy, everyone exchanging drinks and merry laughter. Zhao Day was tempted to look for acquaintances but remembered his waiting wife and suppressed the urge to stay. Maybe some other time, he thought as he moved forward, when suddenly he recognized a voice nearby. The start of a game, and instantly followed by bellows of victory and groans of loss. That voice, why did it sound so familiar? Who was that person? Curious, Zhao Day approached the crowd just as another round began, its weird rules baffling, holding low cards as a climb, while high cards signify homes to watch. As the game concluded, with winners and losers evident, one victor with a wide grin bellowed, "Come on, hand over the money." To which the banker retorted cheekily, "What do you need the money for, eh?" So, it went like this. In Yingpan village, the Zhao family had a child on the way, and Zhao Dezu owed me 500 bucks. I was supposed to go collect the debt, but since you've won it off me, you can go instead. Zhao Day, when he heard this, felt his legs give way, praying he wouldn't collapse right there. Yingpan village's Zhao family, that's me, Zhao Dezu. And the man now sitting as the dealer, wasn't it the village's notorious gambler, Sanhaizi? Once, Zhao Day lost to him and owed him 500, a sum now equivalent to 50,000, claiming he had no money. Sanhaizi was in a rush to collect it, but 3 days later, he killed himself after gambling losses piled up. Zhao Day was originally relieved, thinking he'd dodged repayment. But who would have thought it had come back on this day? Wait a minute, Sanhaizi had died, right? So, where was Zhao Day now? Confused and lost in thought, the gathered crowd erupted into a commotion, and joyful exclamations of winning a bet ensued. "Go spend, enjoy, it's all yours," someone cajoled the winners. As Zhao Day watched, the winner who had stood up caught his eye. Nothing particular marked his face, except for a red spot on his forehead, about the size of a fingertip. Zhao Day, shaken to the core, mounted his bicycle and sped off. The bike wobbled, and before long, he took a tumble, sprawled on the ground feeling dizzy with pain. In that moment, he couldn't determine if what he'd seen was real, or if he was just seeing things from too much drink. After riding his bike, he saw a lad helping an old lady approach from a distance. "Seeing as it's getting dark, there must be a child on the way, right?" asked the old woman. Yes, Zhao Day replied, "You are?" "I'm old lady Kui," she said. "I felt restless tonight, as if something was happening. And here you are, needing a midwife." "Which village?" she asked. "Yingpan village," Zhao Day said, realizing the distance. No hesitations, she agreed to go with him. Sending the lad back, Zhao Day cycled home with old lady Kui. Once at the Zayas, everything from hot water to towels and cotton strips was ready. Yet the baby would not come out. It took significant effort to find the child's head, and pulling by the head, they finally delivered the baby. Everyone was overjoyed, especially at the sight of a healthy, chubby boy. But Zhao Day's brow furrowed in worry as he noticed a red fingerprint-sized mark on the baby's head. Identical to that on the man he'd encountered on the road demanding the debt. The family, seeing the color drain from his face despite mother and child being safe, pressed him for an explanation. Zhao Day recounted his mysterious encounter, emphasizing the red mark he'd seen on the ghost's forehead. Upon finishing his tale, everyone looked at the baby and indeed saw the mark. Now, what could make of this strange happening? At that moment, old lady Kui spoke up, saying she'd heard from an elder about several ghosts who loved gambling, and created their own ghost market to play with shape-changing and money betting. I didn't take it seriously when I first heard about it, but now it seems it was true. Let me think of a solution for it. What solution? The Zhao family scraped together 500 yuan, the amount Zhao Day owned Sanhaizi, and he took it to Sanhaizi's family. Sanhaizi was unmarried and had ended his life over gambling debts, leaving only his elderly parents behind. In the past few years, the debt collectors had been a constant nuisance at their home, but things had recently quieted down. Upon hearing that Zhao Day came to repay the debt, the old couple was overjoyed. After writing a receipt that acknowledged the payment of the full amount owed by Zhao Dezu and marked the gambling debt as settled, the elderly couple stamped their thumbprints on it. Later, this receipt, wrapped in the blood-stained sheet from the baby's birth, was burned at a crossroads. Sure enough, after that ritual, the child showed no abnormalities and grew up like any normal kid, went to school and came home as expected. However, because of this past incident, Zhao Day never quite warmed to the child. Back then, the one-child policy was just a recommendation, not a strict enforcement. Consequently, after this incident, Zhao Dai's wife gave birth to 3 more children, but all were daughters. There was only this one son. When the boy was 5, Zhao Dai passed away from illness, and the widow raised all 4 children by herself. Despite others whispering about her son being a creditor's ghost, she was unmoved. "My son spends hardly any money," she'd say. Sure, the boy didn't spend much, but he didn't earn either, just staying at home. He had trouble focusing on his studies and didn't mix with bad crowds, he merely stayed home. Growing into his 20s, he didn't seek work but spent his time reading novels at home. His younger sisters, on the other hand, influenced by their brother's lack of ambition, each became determined and strong, went to universities in the city, and eventually settled there. In the blink of an eye, he was over 30, still idle. Though he didn't cause trouble, neither did he work. His sisters pooled money to buy a house and moved their mother to the city, and he followed. He would wake up to play online games during the day and read novels before sleeping at night. As time passed, his sisters reached their 30s and 40s, wrinkles on their faces, white hair on their heads, while he still looked to be in his 20s. Without any worries or work to do, living off his mother and sisters. Who would bring him meals and take care of him without him lifting a finger? Why would he have any concerns? Before they knew it, the once young ghost was over 40, and Zhao Dai's widow had grown old. Suffering from severe rheumatism, she could only use a wheelchair to go out, even shaking when getting out of bed. It was then that the sisters began discussing how to care for their aging mother in shifts, never once considering that their brother might help. The 3 sisters planned it out. One would cover the day shift, another the evening, and they would take turns assisting their mother with their husband's support. But as they were discussing, their brother suddenly shut off his computer and said, "No need for shifts, I'll take care of our mother by myself." And from that day on, he indeed began to take full responsibility for their mother, surprising everyone with his initiative. Every day, he would carefully carry their mother down the stairs to get some fresh air and then back up to sit on the sofa to watch TV. As the years of hard work took its toll, Zhao's widow fell ill and could no longer do chores or cook. At this point, her son started to learn how to cook, and his culinary skills quickly surpassed those of chefs in the city. Later, when his mother could no longer even hold chopsticks, he patiently fed her every meal, spoon by spoon. With her having no teeth and eating very slowly, it would take up to 2 hours per meal. He'd hold the soup spoon in one hand and the bowl in the other, with his arms suspended midair, dedicating around 4 hours a day just to feeding his mother. In her final years as dementia set in, she sometimes didn't recognize her son and would plead to see her missing child. Hearing these words, the man in his 40s would sit on the ground, not in anger but in overwhelming emotion. From the time his mother fell sick until she passed away, he was her sole caregiver. In 2013, not long after the old lady's passing, her son too left the world following a sudden cerebral stroke. It makes one wonder if this man, who had never worked or married, spent his earlier life quite differently, and in his mother's time of need, was repaying a debt from a past life and expressing gratitude for her nurturing in ways others couldn't understand. On this Mother's Day, I take the opportunity to wish all children a happy family, to cherish their parents. And may all mothers in the world have a blissful old age filled with companionship. Friends, that's our story for tonight. I hope everyone enjoyed it.